How to give constructive feedback to your manager. Do you want to be able to give feedback to your manager to actually feel comfortable doing it and not get stuck in that hopeless, like, I can't say anything, like my gut hurts, heart sinking into my feet feeling, just feeling trapped? Do you want to actually have a way to ask for what you need? And if so, what do you say? And what is the method to deliver it that will get those results? We'll cover that in this video right now. All right, so first and foremost, I want to say to you, all of my wonderful YouTube family peeps, that you have to ask for what you need. There is a pattern that we constantly talk about on this YouTube channel, which is that people cannot be happy unless they are known and they feel connected to someone, unless they feel relevant to the team, and unless they know that they are winning on a constant basis. And you will not feel connected, you will not feel known, you will not feel relevant, and you will not feel like you're winning. So all three of those are like we're not going to get it done if you don't feel like your needs are being met and if you don't feel listened to. And so if you have a supervisor where you need certain things, it is totally, I'm telling you this, I want to tell you that you will have a better experience if you actually get what you need. So asking for what you need, asking for the environment you need, asking for the equipment, asking for the training, asking for the opportunities, asking for the time, right? Asking for the advice, asking for the mentoring. Whatever it is that you need in a professional environment, please, please, please ask, because you deserve it. Whether or not you're going to get it from your particular boss is another question, but you have to develop the skills to not only set boundaries, but to also ask for what you need in your role. That is crucial for you to feel engaged. And I want you to know that if you don't get this, if you don't get what you need, you will get frustrated and you will leave. Or you'll do what's called silent quitting, which is where you won't give 100%, which is actually not in line with your integrity, and you don't want to do it anyway. So it will only lead to bad things if you let it fester. So you're probably thinking to yourself right now, hey Jason, I don't really like conflict. I don't like speaking up. I'm not used to advocating for myself. I don't feel comfortable. This also may be a hard thing if you are a female and you have a male boss. Let's say you're not comfortable doing it. Let's go ahead and go through a method that you can implement that I hope will enable you to get past some of those fears. So let me share with you the feedback method. So the feedback method or the framework is very helpful. To be clear, criticism is not a thing. We don't believe in it. We don't believe in constructive criticism. It's just not a thing. People shouldn't be criticized. That's no way to live. The feedback model says that there's two ways to do this. One is you can give someone a compliment, meaning you can, on their path to greatness, let's say that this line, my arm here, is their path towards getting better and becoming the human that they want to be. If they, along that path, took action, did something, and then accomplished something, then you can show up right here at that point and say, hey, great job. And compliments are beautiful. Everybody wants compliments, okay? I don't care if people say they don't like them. Compliments for real, sincere things are wonderful for human beings. They thrive on it. In that same model, with that same trigger, that same action, and that same outcome, when you look at these two, there's a trigger, then there's an action, then there's an outcome. This is where you showed up with a compliment, but you can actually spend some time right here and say this, hey, I noticed, which is talking about where the person has been, that you're doing this. If you did this, you would get this. Or if you did this, I would get this. Or if we work together in this way, then we would get this. So those three things, right? I noticed, and if you did this, I noticed, and if I was given this, or I noticed, and if we did this together, we would get this outcome. So it's really not much different than a compliment. It's just the difference in time. So a compliment was after the action was taken, and feedback for improvement was before. So it's the same thing, the same positive intent, and the same good feelings, right? Hey, I noticed that you're doing this. If you do this, you'll accomplish this, and we'll be ready for a compliment, right? They're both on an upward trajectory. If you're criticizing someone, that means you're shaming them, you're defining who they are, you're saying you are statements, right? You're being very, very critical, right? So we don't do that. And the reason you probably don't want to speak up for yourself with your boss is because you're afraid that it's going to be critical and that it's going to come off the wrong way. And so let's go through this. Let's say that you want or need training, and let's say that it hasn't historically been on the table. You can say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Supervisor, I noticed that when we're doing these tasks, I take quite a bit of time. I want to cut that in half so that I can focus on these other tasks, or better, get them to you. I've researched this training that could be purchased for me by the company, and if I took the training and implemented it, then I would be able to accomplish the reporting or assignment or whatever it is on time, which would make for a better experience, and I could take on this other assignment. And so you're triggering it with I noticed, providing a possible course of action, and then actually showcasing the reward if we took that course of action. And so that's pretty simple. Now, let's say it wasn't something you need. Let's say that you need your boss to stop being a jerk. Okay, so if you're like, hey, stop being a jerk, right? You're probably afraid of that because you're going to get a jerk response, right? But let's get specific with this. What if it was something like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Supervisor, hey, I noticed that when you're stressed, that you can really come off kind of harsh and critical. I'm not accusing you of anything. I get nervous when that happens and I shut down and I don't do my best work. I'm wondering if you said when you're in that environment, hey, I'm having a hard time right now, and you asked for what you needed in the moment and gave me a way that I could help you, I wonder if you would get less frustrated and if I would avoid shutting down, and then actually we'd both be able to get through it together and really be connected afterwards, right? So that sounds like a bunch of fluffy talk, but it's actually not. It's, I noticed if you did this, it would lead to this outcome. Now, the individual can choose to take it or not, but at the end of the day, you've really framed it in a couple of different ways. Number one, from observation, not from feeling. Number two, you've kept your feelings that you're responsible for on your side without any accusation. Number three, you're trying to help. Number four, you're looking forward to a possible future outcome and you're willing to pair with this person. I can't imagine that this wouldn't work most of the time, right? So being able to give feedback, in my opinion, really comes down to being able to do it in the right context, in the right way. If you're like, hey, you're a jerk sometimes and I don't like working with you, first of all, like, the person doesn't know when he or she was a jerk. They don't know what you're talking about. There's no corrective action. There's nothing that can be improved there. It's just, okay, well, I guess I'll feel bad about myself, right? So if you want to give feedback to your supervisor, follow the feedback pattern. I noticed if you did this, you would get this, and you will find a way to connect in a loving manner instead of staying disconnected with contention. The other thing that I'll say is that you can set boundaries. You know, hey, when this happens, I feel like this and I just can't do that. That's a boundary for me. So I want to brainstorm with you to find a solid solution, right? So if you make sure in these conversations that you're owning your own emotions, that you're setting clear boundaries, that you are being helpful with the intention of connecting, then you will find a way eventually with enough practice to have these conversations from a positive mindset. Now, if they don't accept the advice or the feedback or don't make changes, then you'll have to make some decisions from there. But I'm hoping that this enables you to go give feedback more often. So remember, be clear, ask for what you need, know your boundaries, provide feedback, and if you do it in a way where you want to connect with that person and bless their life, I have to believe that it's going to go well. And so what I'm going to do is link you in the description below to this model and this outline, and really wish you the best when you're practicing it, because the clinical answer for how to get better here is to legitimately practice and to get good at it and to normalize this kind of talk. Please, please, please do not normalize just internalizing these issues and not getting what you need and not giving feedback. Really, everything gets better with open communication. Even if your boss blows up, you'll at least know, hey, this isn't going to get better, and you can make a change. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like the video. Please stay with me. We have more cool content coming on the way, and I'll close by saying, on we go.